I hope. It's great to be with you as always. I'm Jeff. There is Tom on Twitter. It's at Jay Cameron Show. If you're driving about town, listening on 93.3 Real Talk Radio, appreciate you very much. And, of course, if you're in the Heisen Legal Law Firm chat, remember that they are dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Heisen Legal Law Firm, 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. There's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Heisen Legal Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733. You can also check out HeisenLegalLawFirm.com. Heisen Legal Law Firm, your advocate in times of need. Offices, Tampa. And away we go. I'm happy to announce that we'll have Jamie Arnold on the show here in mere moments. In fact, at the end of this segment, maybe, Tom, we'll just throw it up and make this part of the opener here, maybe. And it'll be fun. I tell you, that's a kid that has come a long way in a hurry. You know, when we were prepping for the interview, I went back and looked just to refresh my memory of what he did last year, Tom. And golly, there weren't indicators based on those numbers that he was going to be this guy. So, you know, it was pedestrian at best. I'm being kind when I say what we saw from the numbers a year ago to where he is now. If you're a pitcher in college baseball, with the balls being what they are these days, the baseballs, everybody, being what they are these days, and you have an ERA under 3, doing some things. It's hard to keep people off the scoreboard in college baseball these days. You can accidentally run into a couple a game with a home run at, cheapies. We see a lot of them, pop-ups that leave the yard because the ball just carries and carries, especially the hotter the year gets. And yet he's been really good at keeping in the yard. He's been really good against tough lineups. His numbers against good teams are also very good. Like if you extrapolate all of the numbers and just look at teams that were formidable, as in top 25, top 30 RPI teams, he's been very good against them too. So that bodes well that it's electric stuff against good bats. And he's going to face a lineup that up and down you could say is the best in college baseball. You could make an argument for it depending on the metrics you want to look at. And they certainly have hit for a ton of power. Now, I did some checking as well, Tom. That wind's blowing in tomorrow night. 10 to 15 miles per hour blowing in, buddy.
Whoa. 10 to 15 miles an hour is no joke, dude, especially if that's to sustain with the gusts. Just thinking about it from a golf perspective, that will change what you go into your bag and grab for a given shot. So if you're talking about a medium range fly ball that maybe on a 105 heat index day in Tallahassee is going to barely creep over the wall, that's a routine fly ball tomorrow night. Just a routine can of corn.
Yeah, routine. These teams both have guys that can hit it out of big ballparks against the wind and all of that, but you're going to have to earn it. You're going to have to really tattoo it to get it out of this ballpark tomorrow night if this is what's going to be the forecast. As of right now, it's saying, 10 to 15 miles per hour blowing in. I don't know if that's sustained, though, Tom. I will tell you that. My weather expertise stopped after I just saw the miles per hour in direction. I stopped going from there. So we'll see.
Well, either way, I think we would say, given what we know about Florida State's outfield defense, let's not have it swirl. If it's just be a constant, whatever it is, be constant so we don't have to make on-the-fly judgments. So therefore, your positioning is a little bit easier. You don't have to do as much guesswork. It's not a weakness to the point that you're biting your teeth when the balls hit to the air. But this is a much different looking place dimension-wise than is Dick Howser Stadium. I mean, this is a large joint that they're going to be playing in for the next, hopefully, week and a half.
Talked to a couple people that are out there already. There are some people with Florida State that are, of course, out there. That it was picture day today. Team got together, took the picture. What a thrilling moment. It's cool to kind of imagine in your mind for a moment the guys that were getting their head beat in a year ago. And then this day happens, right? You land, you walk out there, you take to the field, you look around, you're surveying the aforementioned dimensions that we're talking about, and you're in the moment. And you're like, oh yeah, we get to play here in prime time tomorrow night against the number 1 ranked team in the country for the right to battle for in a truncated tournament here, a World Series title, a national title. That's just got to be surreal given the depth to which they had sunk last season, to be contemplating that. But I'll tell you, and you'll hear it in a moment, and I think that Jamie Arnold's attitude towards this game and this opportunity is probably shared by the vast majority of these kids. They're not wide-eyed. They're not like overwhelmed by what they're up against. They're not shocked by their success. They're not kind of, wallowing, if you will, in an achievement, in a season well played. They sound workmanlike. And I talked to Eric Llewellyn yesterday, and just like, to me, it seems like everybody that I check with that has a finger on the pulse of this team or interacts with the coaches and the players all seem to say the same thing, which is, man, they're ready to fight. They're ready to go. It's go time. It's like, man, you hold me back. Like, it's time to play baseball. Not, oh my God, can you believe we're playing baseball? It's, can't wait to play some baseball.
That's what I'm saying right here and where I'm living right now. Hold me back. The U.S. Open helped this morning, as we suspected. Didn't help that much. This today kind of sucks. I mean, I'm happy to be here. We're doing a fun show. Can't wait for the people to see this interview, because you'll see how excited Jamie Arnold is to go take the hill tomorrow night. Some pitchers, they like to do the stoic thing, and they have this persona that they want to make sure that they present to the media because they don't want to get too high, too low. You get to see the excitement in this young man's eyes. He can't wait to pitch on this stage. And his personality is built for this stage more than the stuff. Like, he seems to fit the joy that is playing in Omaha. But man, today sucks. This could be Friday. Today could be Friday, and it just isn't. I know we should all really embrace every day that we get, and I agree with that.
But you'd like to skip this one?
I would embrace if we would just move the pitch up 24 hours and let's go. Let's just. I think that the team would agree and say, let's just roll this out there. Let's go. Let's play tonight.
Speaking of the aforementioned U.S. Open, I love this course. I have my whole life. Every time they play a U.S. Open here. Last one was 2014. I like this course. I like the challenges it presents these players, and it is challenging them today, but it seems to be a fair one. I mean, it's not like you can't score. Patrick Cantlay dropped a 65 on that ass today to lead the way in the clubhouse at -5. It is a par 70 for those that don't know, but he's -5. And then Tony Finau is 3 under currently. Tallahassee's own Tom Ludwig Abor is 3 under through 17. And then a whole host of others, including a guy I may have mentioned yesterday to sprinkle some pizza money on for your top 20 wagers, Corey Connors, Canada's own Corey Connors. I've quietly won some money, a lot of money on Corey Connors this year. I'm a Corey Connors kind of guy these days, Tom. He's done right by me. Every week I just throw him in as a top 20 bet or a make the cut bet. Corey Connors is there for you, man. I'm making that cut, says Corey Connors. I'll be there for you, Jeff.
You put it on a T, so you're a Corey Connors sewer. Yeah?
That was too easy, right?
It's on a T. It's on a T.
People sleep on Corey Connors, not this guy. Not this guy. I wake up going, how's Corey Connors feeling today? Corey Connors in this tournament? He is. He's making the cut, everybody. He'll make the cut. You know who that player was for me 2 years ago? You remember this, right? I won a lot of money off of this player. Sung J M. First of all, Sung J M plays every tournament. The Lipton Tea Open, you name it. Sung J's out there. He's going to play that tournament. Okay,
I'll give you another guy who was like this closer to 10 years ago. But if you're looking for somebody in the final 3 pairings of a major 2 to 3 times a year, it was Brandon Grace. Brandon Grace, always there.
Is he still alive? What's happening?
Coming with a 78 on Sunday, but I would still be a top 20 because he's so far ahead through 54 holes. Brandon Grace, he played with, I think he played with Spieth at Chambers Bay. He played the final pairings of the Masters and the Open Championship. And now maybe Corey Connors becomes that guy because you don't have to win it to win money. That's the beauty of the top 20 and top 10 wagers.
What I've learned about this whole process is, in fact, you don't, unless you did what I did earlier this year. You recall, I think I had it with Steven Yeager, and he beat Scheffler head-to-head by a stroke, and I called it, got that. That's been my winnings for the year in golf. I mean, I did well for myself that week, and I've just been pouring it back into wagers. But what I've learned is if you got a guy that you're going to bet him to make the cut, and then you'll sprinkle him 2-way. Top 20, top 10. Maybe you do top 20, top 5 if you feel really good about the course for him. It's as a fit. But you have fun with that. You don't want them to win because if they win, everybody finds out about them. Then everybody, because you can very quietly finish 18th and nobody knows anything about you. You're like, well, Corey Connors down the list here at 18. Yes, that's another top 20 from a man. Matt Kuchar spent a lifetime not winning golf tournaments and is richer than hell because he's always making cuts and finishing in the top 20. No threat to win one, but he'll be right there at 16th. Although the one time he played brilliantly and should have won one and got screwed was, of course, at the British Open, and he'll never live that down because the guy across from him shoots like whatever it was, a 62.
Yeah, I believe they teed off on that hole 45 minutes before they finished that hole that day in the British Open for Matt Kuchar. But you're right, there's a market for it, and those guys who can slide in with a nice little 66 on a Sunday, but they started at 8:45 in the morning. Those are your types. Tommy Fleetwood, it was famous because he's got a unique look, and he was up there in a couple of leaderboards. But he's always been a Sunday, I'm in the middle of nowhere to I'm on the second page of the leaderboard specialist. Tommy Fleetwood is very lucrative if you play him that way. Just never pick him to win a major.
Well, backdoor top 10s is what you're describing. He's going backdoor. Backdoored his way into that top 10, did he? I hate that when I watch a guy, I'm like, oh, did you know so-and-so has 9 top 10 finishes in majors? I'm like, yeah, let's go back and look at these. How many of these happened because on Sunday, dude shot a 66 after the previous day shooting a 75 and making sure he was going to be no part of the action that mattered on a Sunday. Yeah, a lot of guys like that. A lot of guys like that. Rory had a run like that too, but he has 4 majors in the bag, so you can't say that about him.
Correct. And look, there's nothing wrong with betting after 36 holes after the cut too. You can still get some great value. To prove that betting is not about rooting at all. I went heavily in on Bryson DeChambeau in the last major at 36 holes because
he won a lot of money. He did well.
Sharp, I mean, the books did not believe that he could put it together on the weekend. I'm thinking, man, and I went all in, and we were on vacation that weekend. And during vacation, one of those expensive dinners in Disney got a little cheaper, got a lot cheaper. In fact, it might have been on the house thanks to old Bryson.
Now you like him. Now you're like, yeah, clubhead speed.
I was like, well, he chipped in. I'm okay with this on Saturday. Like, I'm okay with this development. It's a nice chip.
Mike, I see on here, you found a way for the ACC to close the gap. The Jeff Cameron Show Conference. Go get those naming rights. Who would be in my conference? I got to think about who I would want in my conference. It would be a hodgepodge. People wouldn't like it because they'd have to travel great distances because I'd be willy-nilly picking schools that I've always had sort of an affinity for. So, like, I like Wyoming. I also like Army. I kind of like Purdue. I've always sort of liked Purdue.
Yep.
I really like Washington. I really like Washington. That was awesome last year watching Washington do well. I like that team. I like that school. I'd mix it, obviously, Florida State, but I wouldn't want to put them in my crappy conference. They need to be in the big dog conference. So, maybe I would, out of love for the school, I would just say, no, you guys don't get to be in here, even though I would have you if you wanted to be, but we can't do that. But, Tom would have freaking Houston in the conference. He'd be like, Jeff, can I have Houston in the conference? He loves Houston. I would have
Troy in the conference, Houston and Troy, and I would probably grab Oregon State for Benny the Beaver.
Benny the Beaver. I like Oregon and Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of Florida State fans hate Oregon because of that game, but I like Oregon.
I would grab Utah, 100%. You grab Utah for my conference.
You know how much money I've made off of Utah? Every year I bet them to win the pack. I love them.
You love that state. Utah State, and the previous place that we were on the air was a cash cow for 2 to 3 years.
It was an ATM, man. They had an electrifying offense every year. They would backdoor cover all the time. They'd win 10 games. You're like, why everybody's asleep on Utah State? Have you ever seen, they did a special on that coach. I know we got to go to break and we'll come back with Jamie Arnold. Was it last year? I think it might've been last year. It was an emotional piece. They all are on ESPN for Game Day. They did something on Utah State's coach who did, no dad, well played. UTEP, Jeff loves El Paso. Good God. I turned 53 this week, guys. I'd be dead if I lived in El Paso. No chance that I would have made it to 53. And I've been like, I can't get out of here. Every day it's the same thing. Stuck out here in godforsaken El Paso.
You know what? Screw it. I'm just going to Juarez. And what happens to me happens to me. I don't care. I'm dressing flashy. I'm keeping my wallet on the exterior of the belt loop. I'm going to Juarez. Just end it for me.
What's up, everybody? Good to be here in Juarez.
Right. Speaking in English, just like that.
Yeah. The ultimate gringo. That'd be me. I'm just walking on in. Hey, everybody. Good to be in beautiful Juarez. Anybody got a margarita? Let's have a good time.
Man, that would be such a good wrestling nickname for you, beyond your whatever your name would be. But it's just you have the flashy jacket like Ric Flair, and it says the ultimate gringo on the back.
That would be a fun one. Hey, Jamie Arnold has been awesome all year long. We tracked him down in Omaha about 1 hour ago. Literally 1 hour ago, Jamie Arnold and I were talking. I was in my living room, but we went ahead and recorded it for you, and you're going to hear it when we come back. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator cells, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick, professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
I'm Robert, and I'm a general pest technician at Paul's Termite and Pest Control. I have a fantastic job working for an amazing company. Every day, I take great satisfaction in knowing the work I do helps protect the health of the customers I'm honored to serve, and their pets too. Many are now my friends. Paul's is a local North Florida-based company, and they are constantly teaching all of us techs about the ever-changing needs of our unique part of the world.
I'm Jay, and having the privilege to work with people like Robert and all of our employees is truly an honor. There is no doubt that the staff of Paul's Termite and Pest Control is the best in our industry. All of our people are local, and local really does mean something. We're North Floridians. Our kids go to school here. We shop here. We build relationships here, and we honor our commitments. To all of our customers, thanks for trusting us to protect your family, pets, and home.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too, call Paul's. We'll get them all.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Investors, are you looking for a creative way to purchase your next rental property? Are you looking to get into the Airbnb space? If so, you need to know about DSCR loans. It stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. These are loans that do not require traditional income verification. As long as the proposed rent covers the mortgage payment on the subject property, that's the only income you need. If you're looking at investing and don't know if you can qualify, let's set up a plan to get your next income producing property and start putting you on a path to passive income. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. And don't forget, every fellow Knoll that we close a loan for, I will personally make a donation of $250 to the Battle's End. It's Shannon Young at 954-369-6171.
Equal housing lender, NMLS number 373033.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Social Kitchen is now open on Cary Forest Parkway near Ology Northside, Tallahassee's only premier market where you can receive the famed Snake River Farm steaks and premier meats. Social Kitchen also has chef-prepared meals and sides ready to serve in just under 20 minutes. Perfect for those very busy springtime weeks, weekends, you name it. Hosting some people at the house. Hey, Social Kitchen also has build-your-own charcuterie boards and catering. Stop in and visit Social Kitchen today or visit us online at socialkitchentlh.com. SocialKitchenTLH.com. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. And man, oh man, are we excited, just like all of Seminole Nation, to welcome in sophomore lefty and ace Jamie Arnold, live from Omaha right now. Jamie, first off, thanks. Give me a quick run through of what it was like to step out onto that field. I know today you guys took pictures. What was it like for you to walk out there knowing that you're going to be on the mound here tomorrow night?
Yeah, no, it didn't really hit me until I walked out there that we were doing this. And, it's got to be one of the coolest places to play, and I'm super excited.
Well, it's interesting. I've got to ask you, obviously you've had a tremendous year. Congratulations on that. I know there's work to do and you guys are looking forward, but for those that don't know, 11-3, 277, all the numbers are there. But I guess take me through the process. I mean, what an amazing turnaround. You go from last year to this year, both collectively as a team, and then for you maturing as a pitcher and emerging as this, as I said at the outset, ace.
Honestly, just like finishing last year, going into summer ball, I worked a lot with my coaches up there. They helped me out a good amount. And then I took what I learned there right into fall and then working with Coach Posey. And honestly, just my confidence was way better. And I wasn't pitching with any fear. And I think that's been the biggest part of this year for me. And honestly, with this team, this offense, I mean, it's not hard to pitch well with them behind you because I know I'm going to have support.
You're going to have support, and also they've picked the ball up this year. The defense has been much better than it was a year ago, so that helps, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So was it really about confidence? Because it seems to me the stuff is even more electric. Is that also just getting stronger?
Yeah, I filled out a little more. I gained 30 pounds last year in the fall, so I think just going into my body a little bit more and like getting used to that. And then, it's pretty easy to be confident when your stuff is much better. So, it's got to be the stuff. It's just a combination of a lot of things, I think.
30 pounds, man. I remember the days, but my goodness, you must have been not just lifting, but eating people out of house and home, man. What was the diet for 30 pounds of growth?
I would just honestly cook like a lot of rice and ground beef and just eat that just pretty much all day. A lot of eggs too. And I would just pound the protein shakes they had for us at the field.
I can see you reflecting as if to say almost too many eggs.
Oh, yeah. Like, I can't do that again. I don't want to, but I needed to. I was 160 pounds out of high school. I needed to put on some pounds.
Well, it's all worked out for you now. Okay, so 1 day less rest, 120 whatever pitches that was, right? How do you feel? How do you feel?
I feel good. I've done this multiple times this year where I've had to move up a day, with like our rotation going down and all stuff like that. So, I kind of have a week built in or like a schedule built in for a week like this, and it's been working this whole year. So
your coach, Link Jarrett, who we've had on many times, had this to say about you, and I'm quoting, when he was asked who was going to start the game out in Omaha, clearly getting off to a good start is huge. And when he's on his game, meaning you, he's as good as anybody I have ever seen. So we need him. We need him on the hill. How good does it feel to hear your head coach say something like that? How great is that?
It's good. It definitely helps to know that he trusts me and that my team trusts me so I can go out there and do what I do and keep us in the game and hopefully win it and move on.
We've gotten a chance on the show this year to get to know Micah Posey pretty well. He's come on as well several times, and I just enjoyed chatting with that guy. Give us some insight what it's like to work with Micah. He seems obviously thorough but also interesting, and what's your dynamic? What's your relationship like?
Yeah, no, he's been great. He just he gives you feedback when you need it. He also tells you stuff you need to hear when you need to hear it, and he also pumps confidence into us. And in the fall, I kind of went through like a little mental thing, and he kind of got me right out of it immediately. He's been great to work with. I credit him to a lot of this year.
How hard is that? I always wonder about this for a pitcher specifically. Baseball is a team game, but obviously it's individual driven. We all look at everybody's stats, and you're on the hill. You're the one with the ball in your hand, controlling games. If you have a good day or a bad day, it goes a long way in deciding the outcome. How hard is it to stay positive if you're a little off at a given start or you have a string of bad luck? What is that like? You talk about the mental aspect of pitching.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just about. R.A. Dickey came in last week and told us a good thing. He said, have a short-term memory and a bulletproof confidence. And that's something I didn't really put into words yet, but it's kind of something I do. So if I have a bad outing, I just got to wash it right away. Like once that night ends, it's just wake up and it's a new day. And I think honestly, just by doing that, it's been helping me a lot. Also, like in the middle of outings, if I'm not feeling that great or anything, like Posey's good about just coming up and telling me like mind over matter, like no matter how you feel, like you can do it. Like you can make pitches, you can get out of this. So with both of those things, it's just been huge.
Does he ever come out and have anything, I don't know, for lack of a better term, mean to say? Does he ever get pissed off at you?
He hasn't gotten pissed off at me much this year, but he does.
You haven't given him many reasons to get pissed off. This is a Tennessee team that obviously is ranked number 1. You guys don't worry about that, but I will say, looking at what they've done offensively, those numbers are gaudy up and down the board. Does it change anything about how you approach your start?
No, I mean, I just got to – if I execute my pitches, I think I can get pretty much any lineup out. So, I mean, kind of just the same thing I've been doing all year.
Last thing, the ballpark can play cavernous, which is nice. If the wind is blowing in, and I looked this morning, it's supposed to be. I'm sure you're happy to hear that. Does that change anything about your approach? Meaning that you can live in the zone even more than you already do because the repercussions of a pitch over the zone is not what it is. Let's say at Hauser or at other ballparks, right?
Yeah, no, I feel like I throw a lot of strikes anyways, so I don't know if I could – throwing more strikes might not be good, so – I think I'm going to stay where I'm at and just keep attacking,
We'll all be tuned in, Jamie. Thanks so much for your time. I know your head's got to be swimming. I'll let you go get focused and be with your guys. Take care and good luck tomorrow night, okay?
Yep, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Jamie Arnold live from Omaha joins us on the Jeff Cameron Show. Good to hear from the lefty ace. And obviously, as you can see, a confident young man and excited to make this start and get out there and do what he's done all season long, which is – provide his team with an opportunity to win baseball games, and this should be a wonderful matchup. So we'll come back, react to that here in a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Governor DeSantis signed Florida's new $116.5 billion budget Wednesday afternoon. $9.9 million of slashed items would have funded projects across the Big Bend. Some of the slashed items include backup generators for branch libraries and community centers in Leon County, Wakulla County Shell Point US 98 Fire Rescue Facility, Sewanee School District School door barricades, and more. To see a complete list of all the items cut from the budget, you can go to flgov.com. Wednesday afternoon, the Leon County Sheriff's Office held a press conference at their headquarters to talk about their drug trafficking investigation, but also the launch of a gun campaign that is to make locals aware of locking their guns up when they are stored in vehicles. Since January, 102 guns have been stolen in Leon County. The Sheriff's Office will be giving out 100 lock boxes free of charge to the community. You can pick those up at Leon County Operations Center. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Fromley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Highs level off around 95. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 73 tonight. Slight chance for storms. Bright sunshine expected tomorrow. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Daytime highs approaching 97. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 91 degrees.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti. right?
Yep,
and then
yeah,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And but
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I'm over here for a conversation, Tom, not ready on the mic, not ready to hit the buttons, doubling down, fumbling around with the mouse. I got cocky, and it cost me.
Yeah, I heard the source too on the board. I'm like, oop, he's gonna have an echo if he doesn't change it. He's gonna be freaked out.
I know. I got cocky. How silly of that. Hey, so you can hear there, by the way, that Jamie is not lacking confidence, right? That was fun to talk to him. Yeah. He's kind of a giddy guy, and he loves the game, and he's got a flair for the dramatic. He's got to live for a moment like this. So I suspect that he'll be very good tomorrow night. We'll see how good Tennessee's lineup is, because he does throw a lot of strikes. So they'll get opportunities to swing at pitches, that's for sure. I will say this. I like hearing him talk about the amount of times he's had to pitch on 1 day less rest, and that he has an actual routine associated with outings like that when he's being asked to pitch 1 day less of a full range of days that you get to between starts ordinarily. He's a guy that's like, yeah, I'm good for that. I have a whole routine. Good. Not surprised to hear it, by the way. This is a staff that leaves nothing to chance.
He exudes the confidence of somebody who's prepared for the test. That's what he looks like. He might have been starstruck when you asked him about the picture, the team picture. That was a moment for him that clearly he's going to file away. But the challenge of facing Tennessee's lineup, the challenge of pitching in the College World Series, you could tell he's in a very good place to handle that test. Doesn't mean you're going to get the result. It just means that if it doesn't go your way, it's not because of 1 day fewer rest. It's because they're really good or he didn't execute his pitches. But he doesn't seem to be nervous in the wrong way for the moment. He seems excited to put his abilities on the biggest stage in college baseball. And I couldn't be more excited for him. I thought it was really cool, too, that R.A. Dickey was brought in to talk to the program. I wish I had known. I would have asked for a little autograph from my Cy Young.
Yeah, that made me laugh, by the way. It cracked me up. I was sitting there thinking, Tom is loving every second of this.
Yeah. R.A. Dickey is a very thoughtful knuckleballer. He had a fastball knuckleball that would get up in the around 82 to 85 miles an hour. Usually you think about Wakefield and 65. Now, neither of those knuckleball speeds are nearly the stuff that Jamie Arnold has, but when you're talking about mentality, as a knuckleballer, you got to be a pretty tough dude, because you're going to get made fun of and you're going to have awful days where dudes hit all 500 feet.
Yeah, you're going to have days where it's not knuckling and you get wore out.
And you look like you're, who is it? Whose dad was it? Robinson Cano's dad in the home run derby. He's one of the great pitchers of all time in the home run derby. That's what it looks like. Just you're grooving it.
Just grooving it over and over and over again. And the weird thing is, if you've ever coached baseball or just fooled around with baseball and thrown to your sons or somebody's, like your niece or your nephew or something like that, you know how hard it is to throw a perfect pitch to hit? It's really hard to do. Like, you have to try not to try. Because if you try, you're going to pull it. You're going to throw it too hard. You're going to throw it too high. You're going to throw low and away on the black. You're going to do all kinds of things that you're like, Dad, I'm not out here trying to hit 87 off the edge. Can you just throw it down the heart, please? Bryce used to get so mad at me when we'd go hit, and I'd throw to him high and tight, low and away.
So that's on the driving range that I grew up on, my coach, there was a ledge at the end of the driving range in the grass area. Then it would go way down, and then it would flatten out. But it was 40 yards to the ledge, to the edge of the grass. And he's like, I don't care if you can hit a 280. I want you to hit 10 in a row that stop on the edge of this hill. I want you to hit 10 40-yard pitches. And I'll bet you, because we started at 9, he says, I'll bet you won't be done by lunch. You won't be able to do it. And he was right, because it's the same thing. It's not about attacking. It's about grace. It's about touch. Now, hopefully, Jamie Arnold has no grace tomorrow. I hope he's graceless. I hope he is pounding his chest, and I hope that the top team of ESPN broadcasters, given the way that Tennessee certainly plays, Kyle Peterson saying, my, Jamie Arnold is letting them have it in the Tennessee dugout with every pitch. I hope that's the guy we get, because I'm fired up to watch him. And that interview only made me more excited because he can't wait to go play. And I love that energy. That's exactly what you want.
I want to speak on a subject here for a second, and just a second, about Bob Harris. I'll tell you who he was for those of you that don't know, and why it's important for me to bring this up. But first, before we go to that, Tom, I want to mention yet again Social Kitchen, TLH.com, Social Kitchen here in Tallahassee, Cary Forest. That's where you go. Swing on by and tell your dad you love him by way of a prime rib and bottle of red. There you go. 75 bones. There you go. Wagyu, huh? That's what we're doing. Ribeye, bottle of Board Track Racer Cabernet Sauvignon to boot. You can get that for $1.25. Prime rib and a cigar. A good cigar from Jerry's Cigar, $60. Snake River Farms Wagyu ribeye and Cigar City from Jerry's has cost you only $90. You could get the Butcher Box memberships as well. 1 month is $100. The highest quality meats in the city right there at Social Kitchen. And you go in there, you get 3-month membership for $250. By the way, you save even more money. Either way, great Father's Day gifts. You got basically 48 hours to get over there and order this. Or you could order it online and then show dad the receipt and let him know it's coming. One of those things. SocialKitchenTLH.com. All right, back to the discussion we were about to have here. And that is, Bob Harris was the play-by-play announcer for Duke basketball in particular. He did a lot of sports, but Bob was a legendary broadcaster. Now, I don't care anything about Duke, but we know, obviously, that basketball program has been arguably the preeminent basketball program over the last 50 years, certainly in my lifetime. And one day long ago, Duke came to town, to the TLC, and if you're watching on Warchant TV, you will see a picture of me and Bob Harris, and that is a picture both of Bob and myself. You can see there I have hair. Now, it was beginning to thin. But I do have hair, but I had also started the glasses stage. But there I am with the now late, great Bob Harris, who, when noticing that I was doing a broadcast courtside before the game that evening against Duke, walked in and came over here. Here we are laughing. We're cracking up laughing. It took mere seconds for me and Bob to find a rapport, and I looked up to him. I love a good play-by-play announcer. I do, and in all sports, I do. I look for those kinds of guys who are masters of their craft. Anyhow, Bob was all class that day, Tom. This was him talking with me, and we ended up doing a hearty segment to the point where I hated to go to break. I think he stayed with me through 2 full segments. And secondly, after that, when we did go to commercial break, we talked and laughed. And my friend Dave Krieger, I think, took those photos. Anyhow, it was so neat to kind of that day have this conversation and to pick his brain. And the amount of time that he was willing to spend with me and really talk, like not, hey, this kid's talking to me. He doesn't know a thing about what he's doing as a broadcaster, but talk to me and to ask questions and to be curious about my show and ask how you do a radio show like this. It's different than play-by-play, right? And it was just cool. And I didn't want today to go by. We posted those pictures up there. I've got it on my Twitter feed if you're driving around and you want to see it. That's me and Bob. And he was simply fantastic. We broke down the game, all those things. But Duke posted this, that he had passed away, and I retweeted that with those pictures and thanked him and wished him, rest in peace, Bob Harris. But anyhow, wanted to bring that up, tell that story, because he was I know, guys in there, look at the top of your head, Jeff. Yeah, I know there was hair. There was hair. You can see it. Not a lot there, though. You go back about a year before that, and you'll see a thick head of hair that has no sign that it's about to take off and jump over the cliff. No, sir. That hair was like, we're good. Everything's good here. And then we're like, no, we don't like it here. It's time for us to giddy up, Jeff. Time to move on. Time to get going.
What year would you estimate that those photos were taken?
Dave, come to the rescue in the chat and let us know. I can't remember. He'll know. I can find it. Yeah. Yeah, I can see you guys in the chat. I know. But it's just neat. I have been very I just want the reason I bring this up. I've met a lot of people. This job affords you that privilege to get to meet people that you've either liked or admired their work or whatever it might be, whether that's an athlete or a media member. And I know, for example, Tom got to meet the great Bob Ryan. And we were out in California, and I remember how excited you were to meet Bob Ryan. Now,
I was.
Bob is a New England columnist and has been for 60 years and is an encyclopedic knowledge of basketball, amongst other things. There it is, 2006.
Wow.
2006. That was me in 2006.
It's my freshman year. So that was before the double court storming that had to be.
2006 at the TLC Double C.
That was the JJ Redick came to town. Oh, dude, I was taking a psych exam when you were doing that, and then we were among the first 5 people into the Civic Center that night. Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, so that picture's from 2006, 18 years ago. So here's the thing. You get to meet these people. You get to meet players and coaches and media members, and it doesn't always go well. It doesn't always go well. Sometimes you meet people, and you're like, he sucks. I don't like that guy at all. He was a narcissist, or he was, mean-spirited, or at the very worst, it could be like indifferent. Like didn't have any desire to talk to you at all. It could be arrogance. It could be any number of things. Sometimes you meet these guys, and they're awesome, and they're kind, and they're better than you thought they were from afar, and they invest in the moment. And as people, when you're having a conversation, whether it's somebody you admire or not, you just want to be heard. You want to be seen. You want to be known. You want to have a conversation. You want to pick their brain. You want this to be, rewarding. We all want that. And so when it happens, especially when it's somebody who doesn't have to give you the time of day, you remember it forever. I mean, you remember, especially me back then. I wasn't as hugely famous as I am now, Tom. I was coming up. So anyhow, I have always remembered it. And I will also tell you this about Bob Harris. Fast forward several years, when we would play Duke, I would sometimes get a message from Bob Harris that he was going to be in town and he wanted to say hello again. Or was I still doing the show? How are things going? Like, he did that years later.
That's there are those in the industry that are like that, and everybody has a story about that person, and it's a good one. That's, if you could leave a legacy like that everybody has a story about you and it's a good one, then you've done immense work. It's almost more than human to be able to do that. Like Gene Deckerhoff, for example, is a person when he is exactly as great as you think he is. So I grew up listening to him calling Bucks games when the home games were blacked out on Sundays because nobody ever went to them. And I remember, obviously, on Saturdays, the great calls. And I remember how the radio feed would be just about a half to full second ahead of the ABC broadcast down in Tampa Bay. And then I got to meet him. And you're just awestruck because it is the voice that has told you good or bad news for the entirety of your sports and football-loving life. And he's exactly as great as I hoped he would be. I mean, to a T. And everybody's got a great Gene story. And it's just, when a legend like that either hangs it up or says the long goodbye, it's worth remembering those people. And I just can't believe that it's been since 2006. I remember when you had that shirt in the rotation, that polo shirt.
That was a long time ago.
Sadly, we're getting old.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. And I see pictures like that as a reminder. Gene Deckerhoff, who might be listening right now. He's been a big supporter of the show for a long time. And occasionally I run across Gene. To this day, we have each other's number. We'll occasionally text and talk. He loves history like I love history, and we'll make suggestions to one another about a book that one of us should read. He's let me borrow books and things like that in the past. But Gene, I will tell you this time, isn't it funny? We share a similar moment. When Gene Deckerhoff used to drop off the DAT tapes at Clear Channel at 5 a.m., I was doing the morning show, and I would go open the door and pick up the DAT tapes for whatever his Sports Minute was, or whatever that he did for Clear Channel back then. And I just was starting in the business, and this had gone on for some time. And I'll never forget that morning that I walked groggy-eyed, still probably a little loose from the night before, walking over there to open the door as Deckerhoff was dropping off the DAT tape to me, and he knew my name. And that felt like a huge moment where he went from, hey, thanks, to, well, hello, Jeff. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, Gene and I are on first name basis. This is amazing.
Yeah, as a student, I remember thinking, could I get him to do my voicemail on my flip phone, on my old Razor phone?
People, by the way, he does do that.
He does. It was a steep price for a student, so I couldn't afford it at the time. But then later you get to meet him and talk to him, and it's so surreal, because when I get together with my college buddies, who we all grew up in Clearwater, Tampa, so we're diehard Buccaneers fans as much as we are Noles, and one of the first things we'll say to each other is, "There's the dagger! There's the dagger!"
Yeah,
we're gonna win the Super Bowl. Like, it's just one of the first things, and it's those guys, they mark the times, man. Like for Rick and Sam, I was in the car. When you're a teenager, sometimes you don't get to do the things you want to do, and we had to relocate from a dinner we were having to somewhere else. And I heard that moment in the car, and I will never forget where I was. I didn't see it on television. I heard Gene Deckerhoff tell me what happened for Rick to Sam live.
The funny part about that is that moment that you're bringing up was a moment in which yours truly picked up Eric Llewellyn into the air. I was at a house party at Eric's house, and we were celebrating. And we thought for sure the game was over, that Florida State was going to lose. And the 4th and 14 happens, followed by Rick's to PK Sam. And that was followed by me being so euphoric that I walked over and picked big Eric Llewellyn up, and he was laughing that I was hoisting him into the air. He was like, "What are you doing? You're going to break your back." I was like, "No, I won't, buddy. We did it."
So, okay, just for Deckerhoff's sake, one more question. What is the first name you can remember Deckerhoff saying through the radio? Is there a player? Because I've got one, and it's obscure.
No, I cannot. I would be lying if I told you that I knew the first player I remember him saying. I go way back to like Gene's earliest days, because my father listened to Florida State football on the radio when I would go visit him. What was Gene's first year? Do we know what was Gene Deckerhoff's first year? We'll have to look that up.
Before I was born.
Yeah, but find out Gene's very first season as play-by-play for Florida State, and I bet you that I heard many of those calls at my father's house. But yeah, I can't tell you. What was
1979.
Yeah, so I was 8 in 1979. By the way, Florida State went undefeated that season and lost to Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. Now, here's the thing.
Greg McElroy show wouldn't have you believe that. Did you see that graphic? Come on.
Oh, yeah, they messed that up.
So
they missed 2013. They missed 2014's undefeated regular season as well.
Like, I mean, guys, it's bad enough that you're saying that winning all your games isn't good enough to make it to the Invitational. Just, you can't strike them from the record books and say they never happened.
I know. Yeah. So I would like I can tell you it's like Hassan Jones or something. I can remember being in my dad's house, and he would have friends over, and in retrospect, he was a very young man. My father was when I was 8, 9 years old. You know, it's weird to think about that. They were partying. Not to me. They were just, oh, Dad's having his friends over there watching or listening to the game. No, they were drinking and having a good time playing cards while listening to the game. They were getting loose. It was a Saturday night, buddy, at Doak. So there's that. But I couldn't tell you the very first one. I want to hear yours before we go to break and start the next hour.
It was Michael Husted lining up for a game-winning kick. Michael Husted onto the field.
Wow.
Buccaneers, and So 30 seconds to go. Let's see if he makes it here. He's lining up. All right.
Houston. I haven't heard that name in forever.
He draws back. He kicks it. It's good. Bucks lead. Oh, yeah, man. That was chills. That's 1765 and Bevel Road in Clearwater. I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. I remember that.
Yeah, it's cool moments like that. It's why we all love play-by-play announcers in sports. I mean, I'm in sports talk radio. Obviously, I care about people who document sports using their voice, who mark the times, as we were just talking about. I care about, to this day, I had a conversation with somebody else in the industry recently about color analysts, play-by-play announcers for teams we don't even care about, but were so good at their job that they drew me in. So Vince Scully, for example, I hate the Dodgers. I don't care anything about the Dodgers. In fact, I lean towards disliking them immensely. They're a fellow National League team. They spend gobs of money. The Pirates do not. Part of it's envy. They've had a ton of success. I don't like the Dodgers. But, man, I would listen to Vince Scully read the phone book. And I used to listen to him every night for those late games when I would go to bed just to hear the stories and drift off to sleep to as I would say, Uncle Vince.
To underscore the old soul nature that I have, today what arrived, because I will be going to the beach over the summer and listening to the Mets, I got a transistor radio that is perfect to pick up the AM signal of the Mets games. I can hear them struggle while I'm at least staring at some ocean waves.
Doesn't suck. Yeah, but we do that. Steve Stone for the Cubs for years and years and years. Steve Stone's still around, but when he was with the Cubs and Harry Carey, I love Steve Stone. How he put up with Harry Carey, I have no idea. It was amazing. I love the two of them, and I don't even care anything about the Cubs. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Attention, Florida. Are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Leaka Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Leaka Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Leaka Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLeakaLawFirm.com. Hyson Leaka Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
De Martin, the best place to share conversation and connect with the ones you love. Every dish is made from scratch, and every drink is handmade by trained bartenders, offering the very best margaritas and old fashions in the city. Take a trip to a Peruvian paradise right here in the capital city. Visit Café de Martin and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Find the full menu online at cafedemartin.com.
Dream it, plan it, do it. Brian Barnard's Flooring America offers a straightforward way to shop with our streamlined shopping. Finding the right flooring is simple. Visit our newly remodeled showroom featuring the Room to Explore shopping experience, where our knowledgeable staff will walk you through the steps. Our family has been serving the area since 1976 with a local staff of more than 35 people trained in flooring sales and design. We know floors, and we know styles. Let us help make your home timeless. Brian Barnard's Flooring America, where friends send friends.
Services, to call away. 222-7722. AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722. Parker Services. Services to call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. And now offering electrical services too.
Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
License CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Scotty Scheffler, the plus 280 favorite with the U.S. Open at Pinehurst number 2. Xander Schauffele 10-1. Rory McIlroy 11-1. McIlroy has had 5 consecutive top 10 finishes at the U.S. Open, including a runner-up last year in L.A. His top 10 prop bet plus 115 for McIlroy. Florida State $1.40 dog against Tennessee minus 180 in the College World Series Friday in Omaha, Nebraska. Florida Gators Saturday $1.60 underdog against Texas A&M. The Aggies a $2.10 favorite. Florida won 2 of 3 for the Aggies at home in the month of March. OmahaSteaks.com, promo code VSIN to save $10 off your Father's Day order. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Doors take us to summers away or winter adventures and afternoon getaways. Your dedicated Fidelity advisor can help you open those doors by working with you on a comprehensive plan to help you reach your wealth's full potential. Because doors were meant to be opened. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimum supply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
This is Mike Golick Sr. Hulu is coming in hot this month with new shows, new movies, and all new seasons of your faves. Don't miss FX has Clipped, the story of an NBA team's racial reckoning starring Lawrence Fishburne. Stream a new season of Shoresy, the underdog hockey comedy that might just knock your teeth out. Then catch the high-speed drama Ferrari starring Adam Driver and Penelope Cruz. Kick your streaming into high gear this month with so much new stuff to watch on Hulu.
Surprising flavors, cultural authenticity, and unique adventures are some of the main ingredients that go into every single plate served at Café de Martín, Tallahassee's best Peruvian dining experience. Led by classically trained Chef Martín, passion for culture, passion for flavor, and a passion for people can be felt from the moment you step inside. Café de Martín also offers an unparalleled outdoor dining experience in the garden. Surrounded by vibrant flowers and plants and nestled between carefully curated decor, the shaded and breezy outdoor garden features elegant live music regularly, and the romantic evening lighting makes Café de Martín the best place to share conversation and connect with the ones you love. Every dish is made from scratch, and every drink is handmade by trained bartenders, offering the very best margaritas and old fashions in the city. Take a trip to a Peruvian paradise right here in the capital city. Visit Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Find the full menu online at cafedemartin.com.
Searching for the best place to spend time outdoors this spring and summer? The Golf Club at Summerbrook has all the amenities you and your family need. Purchase a family pool membership this season and enjoy the most luxurious and relaxing resort-style pool in the entire city. With a 6,000 square foot deck, covered pavilion, and poolside drink and food service, you'll feel like you're on vacation. Reserve your pool membership today. Visit the Golf Club at Summerbrook.com or call 850-894-GOLF. That's 894-GOLF.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There you go. Self-directing. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. And if you are on the Warchant YouTube feed and you're watching, we appreciate that. In the Heisen Legal Law Firm chat, appreciate that as well. It's fun. You guys kept the conversation going during the break. And you could tell people are passionate about their announcing teams and the ones that, like, I will confess, Tom, you and I lamented the fact, because neither of us are Braves fans, but we lamented the fact, but also listened intently to just how good that pregame show was when we were at 97.9 ESPN Radio back in the day. The Braves are as buttoned up and solid as they get. They're really, really good. That's a good broadcast team.
Well,
I can listen to them talk baseball, even Braves baseball, for long stretches at a time. If you're in the car, they're good.
Well, especially the pregame show was very reasonable.
I'm sorry.
No, the pregame show was very reasonable with their takes on the other team. They were more balanced than that. Then they could be homerish during the broadcast. That's fine. I'm not bashing that at all. It's the home radio network. That pregame show was measured. It was professional. It was, it was to the second because they had a clock that they had to get to for the local markets. It's because that radio network is the largest in the country. I mean, they had upwards of 200 affiliates throughout the Southeast. That was the legacy of having TBS on as a kid, was that the entirety of the South with no baseball teams other than the Braves was Braves country, quite literally. And they were excellent, excellent productions. And I do miss them from time to time because driving home would mostly be during the pregame show and not the play-by-play. But, man, they were just, unfortunately, outstanding. They were the equivalent of our TV play-by-play teams. We both have very, very good television play-by-play broadcasts.
Yeah, not the Greg Brown one. Greg can take a hike, but the other guy that does it for us, whose name is escaping me all of a sudden because you brought it up, he doesn't get to do it as much, but he should because he's awesome. He's awesome when you hear him. And we do both have very good color analysts. That's true across the board. They're really, really good.
I showed you during the
transistor radio. That's nice.
1950s mint green color to it. That's going to be on the beach all year long. And we've got a good radio team too, but that Braves radio network was something else. I'm sure that they're very disappointed with how the Braves are playing right now. That Braves radio network.
Yeah, it's a tough time. I bring it up to my Braves friends that just tough watching a team that you're so accustomed to being good. Just get out here and lose to the Nats and get dominated by the Pirates, and it's interesting. By the way, Noel Dad, to answer your question, first of all, TPE with the strong Tom is going to turn on the transistor radio, and Joe Garagiola and Tony Kubek will be calling the game, broadcasting the game. Garagiola was one of my first favorites. Oh, loved him. He's dead now, I do believe. And just an aside, just thought I'd point that out. Sorry, that was kind of rude. I was just thinking out loud. Hey, you're on the air, Jeff. People can hear you. It's like I was driving down the road talking to myself. Hey, I think he's dead. Yeah, he's dead. But it's funny to listen to and everybody point out their guys. I remember laughing so hard when the Rays finally got a franchise, and those first years of their broadcast team was hilarious because they were the broadcasters, Tom, that if it were you and me and we had to imitate the cheeseball approach to broadcasting, like on a Saturday Night Live skit, it'd be those two. I mean, those two together, it was unreal. It was over the top.
The thing is,
2-2, just a bit outside. We go to 3-2 now. The Rays play tomorrow night at 7:00. You'd be like, holy hell, this is amazing.
The best part of the local broadcast up here, they've got a legendary play-by-play guy, Harry Rose. Now they've shuffled in the other person over the years. It ends up that the tag team partner goes on and becomes an NFL play-by-play guy. They're on a run of those. Sent one to the Chargers and some other places. But the best thing about that broadcast is they're much like Westwood One. I think they rise to that level. Their ability to sell some kind of innocuous thing and get a live read in, before, especially now with the pitch clock, is the most amazing thing. Well, that's the Mets' first base runner of the game, and your first call for a boiler system anywhere in the tri-state area is Peerless Boilers.
They sell everything in baseball.
They do.
Everything. It's a call to the bullpen. It's a ball or a strike that's sold. A home run is certainly sold.
How single. About this one? The Mets scratched across 2 runs last inning. Remember, your New York State Lottery has plenty of scratch-off tickets available at your local gas station and convenience stores. They have a scratch-off read. They do. It's unbelievable.
In the modern, because we have the MLB package for the year, I can watch anybody's broadcast, and I do. By the way, Seattle's broadcast team is awesome. Well, it's a singular. It's that guy, and he's incredible. But when you flip around, you're amazed at the things they're selling, and it's all very regional. Usually, you live in the Pacific Northwest. They're selling you, rain jackets. It's like it's amazing the way it's all regional, and I laugh at the effort that a play-by-play announcer has to make it seem seamless. You know how hard that is to do when you're selling a freaking car between pitches?
Well, that's the Mets radio network driven by your tri-state Honda dealers. But the booth that they have is the Bigelow Tea booth. They got to push Bigelow Tea all year.
We should do a whole bit on this, man. We could do a whole bit where it's just nonstop. You and I selling something back and forth. I sell something to you. You call half of a play before selling something to me. Then I turn around and complete the play while selling something to you. Like it's in mid-play. Like I'll call the double to the alley. You'll pick it up, sell me something. When he slides in safe at second, I'll pick it up and sell you something back.
Slide on into your local Ace Hardware for great Memorial Day savings. That's right. Memorial Day was weeks ago, but the sale rages on at your local Ace Hardware.
Man, it's so fun. Only in baseball. I wish they did it in like boxing in between punches. If that were local, it's not. It's always, national or world, but it's worldly.
What an uppercut by Buster Douglas. And if you want to uppercut your insurance rate premiums, make sure to give State Farm a call.
And I have to do a read later today, and that's going to be fun. And we do have to talk about our friends at ISF, and we will in a little while. And we'll talk about that collaboration and partnership. We should do it. And they should do the cha-ching sound effect. You're right. After every one of these things. Hey, so do you agree with me? This has come up. I got an email about this, and I know that Corey and I discussed it. I brought it up yesterday as well, I think. But do you agree with me as far as maybe there is I'm trying to think of the way to word this. I don't want us as a fan base to belabor the snub. Now, I want to call it for what it was, and I want to state it as an obvious fact every time it's brought up, but I don't want, like Corey was saying he wanted for Mike Norvell to challenge ESPN in broadcast form, or if he goes on shows on SiriusXM, any interview he does, he gets asked about it, like the one he did the other day with Jim Rome. That's how this all came up. Is that now we're at the stage here. We're in the middle of we're in summer, and now these coaches do the rounds. They start going on shows because we're just like us. We're getting geared up and starting to think football. So whether that's having somebody on who writes an article, whether that's somebody who's previewing the season and projecting their top 12 for the playoff, but it's also coaches going on these various national shows and being interviewed, and our coach is going to get asked repeatedly. It'll be one of the first questions he gets asked every interview he does. And my thought was, okay, fine. If the subject comes up and it's referenced as the snub, or that you got railed, I think Jim Rome said, or whatever it was, right? Yeah, you have to address it because you've now been asked. So you have to say it. So fine, you can call it for what it was. But don't introduce it yourself over and over and over again to make the larger point, because you sound like a whiner, and I don't want our coaches and fans to sound that way.
I hear you. So there's two different parts of it. Mike Norvell can't continue to do that because then that fosters
Yes. Well, you got to lead. You got to lead from in front and keep moving forward.
Yeah, your locker room can't survive that way because if they think that they're being cheated, then the next time that back-to-back calls go against them for pass interference, they're going to fall back on Mike Norvell's example of this particular macro issue, and that's the attitude that they're going to carry as a player during the game. Well, I'm being cheated. You can't. So, as the leader of the program, you cannot. Correct. Unless I think on the dais, I'm sure they're going to try to have him on, and they probably will. In Dublin for game day. If you want to be terse that day, I welcome it. I welcome it in that setting. I think that's fitting. The next season hasn't kicked off. This is your first public appearance on the set of the show that banged the drum for you to not make the playoff. And that's exactly what they did. There's no two ways about that. The second part of it is the fan base. And I'm a little bit more lenient to saying never forget, because if you let this thing roll out like the tide, that is how a TV network can continue to just move along like nothing happened and rewrite the history of how it went. Because that's what's going to happen. And that's how it's going to happen is a year or two from now, all of these principal players who they weren't in the room as the committee, but they were the ones
on the committee, right? They carried water for what was being done. Yes.
They would say, obviously, guys, that was just wrong. Like, they're going to flip that switch at some point. And I will always be on guard against that, and I don't think that this is a situation where you forgive and you forget. And that doesn't mean that you have to start a conversation or inject it into a conversation where it doesn't have a place. But I'm a little bit more aggressive on this one from the fan base perspective. Mike has to take the high road. He's got no choice. He had to take the high road 10 minutes after it happened to him because he's got to get that locker room to survive with a transfer portal window coming up in January of last year. So he's got a different mandate, I think, than the fan base does.
My point, and I want to make this abundantly clear because I think people misidentify what I'm saying and sometimes put words in my mouth. I've seen this happen numerous times. My point isn't to ever forget that it happened. How could we? Nobody will that's associated with the program. Nobody that's a Knoll through and through, whether you went to school there, just a fan of, maybe you live in this community, whatever it might be, your association with Florida State and your love for that school. There's none of us that fall under that umbrella that would ever forget it. You can't. But it's a fine line to kind of go about moving forward and while still maintaining certainly a firm grip on reality. I, too, do not like when people engage in revisionist history. It happens all the time. Politicians love to engage in revisionist history, if I can speak. And they love to take samples of something that happened as opposed to the whole thing that happened. Whatever suits their point is what they're going to pick from, but they're not going to talk about the entirety of what was done or what was said or whatever it might be. So, yes, ESPN is not going to dwell on the fact that Florida State was the first ever undefeated Power 5 champion to have been screwed in this manner. They're not going to dwell on that. They don't want you to know that they helped engineer that or be a mouthpiece for it. And of course, they're going to try to say they'll lead with something along the lines of, it's really unfortunate what happened, but it was an imperfect system. They'll hide behind the fact because that's real. That part is real. They can do that, right? They can hide behind the system and say, they got really lucky, did college football over the years, that this only happened one time. You have a Power 5 in 4 spots. By definition, you're inviting a disaster every year. Right. And so they'll be able to say things like, well, we knew it could happen. And unfortunately, sadly, it happened to Florida State last year. And that's the way they're going to phrase it. My point is, you don't need to singularly focus on that as we go into the new season. If it comes up in conversation, call it for what it was. Do not let people pretend like it happened without the aid of certain talking heads at ESPN. No. McElroy will have to be told if that happens. No. At the end, you flipped. Either you were told to, or you did it on your own volition because you're an Alabama guy. Whatever the reason, you flipped at the end for months telling everybody Florida State should be in. And we know what Herb Street said, and we've seen we don't have to relitigate that. Fine, you can remind them that that's not the way it happened if they try to inject nonsense that didn't occur. But you also can't be one of these people that talks about this incessantly a year, 2, 3 years from now. By the way, it doesn't it doesn't do you any good. Florida State and other schools have been screwed numerous times. People still get screwed. The NCAA is regularly screwing people. Even after, and we were screaming from the mountaintops each time it happened. Did it change anything the next time? No.
Yeah, you used a term with the when we were done yesterday off of the YouTube. It started with raw, and that's what this one was against all of the other screw jobs, because of the stakes, because of the money involved, because of the future colleague that was going to serve on College Game Day. I believe these things. I do. I think if Turner Sports was the host of the college football playoff, the Final Four and the championship game, and Turner Sports had the pregame show, and Turner Sports had the rights to the college football playoff, I think Florida State makes the Final Four. That's what I believe. You can't change my mind on that one. I think the network is involved on some level, and in a way, they tip the scales to make this thing happen. And so that is where I won't forget, and I won't forgive some of the players.
You don't have to forgive.
That's the other thing, too. It's like, get over it. No, not for a couple of you pundits out there. I will not. And it doesn't mean that you have to, like you're saying, start a conversation over it every month or every week at a set time. But it also, anytime that person's name comes up subsequent, there's going to be a different tenor with which I discuss a Kirk Herbstreit analysis. There just always will be. Always.
Objectively speaking, what's going to be fascinating, this is a subject to discuss in general. I now know, by the way, that they are setting up shop for game day, not inside of Viva Stadium, Tom. They are going to be out and about City Center in Dublin. That is a mistake. That is a mistake, and I'm shocked they're making this mistake. Now, listen, they're going to have security out the wazoo. I know for a fact, I was told by somebody at ESPN that they know that they're walking into a hornet's nest, that they know that there are going to be some over-the-top performances from fans, let's say. They're aware of that. Now, I would strongly encourage, obviously, nobody needs to do anything physical to Kirk Herbstreit. That would be crazy, and we're not crazy. We're passionate and we're angry, and that's fine, and you can voice your displeasure. I can only imagine the chance that they're going to hear on College Game Day outdoors in front of a bar in Dublin. That's crazy to me that they're doing that.
And this is the part where I come to your side. That's losers' behavior. Just don't show up. Just don't go. I know people can't help themselves. You want to be on TV so bad. You want to be on it's like showing up to Jerry Springer's show and thinking that you're going to be the one to make a point, man. It's just don't go. I would love nothing more than to see a bunch of Irish folk in the background of the shot who look confused and some Georgia Tech fans. I know it's not going to happen, but that would be the thing that I would just don't go. The best way that you could, if they ever came to town, don't go. Make it a church behind them.
They're going to go, and I'm really more surprised by the decision making behind the scenes. Fans are going to go. They're going to be drinking. They're going to be hostile. They're going to say things that we wish they would not say because it's going to get picked up on TV. It's going to be a bad look. It'll be a bad look for FSU, but I get it. This is your chance to voice your displeasure directly to those that were the culprits. And you're going to hear, I'm really surprised. I wonder if they rethink this. I've asked several people behind the scenes for really basically since this thing occurred, since they made the announcement that they were going to Dublin to do game day. I know people at ESPN. I know people who work in the industry, higher ups, people that work directly with the talent. And I have talked to these folks, and they have all said to a man, to me, these are the behind-the-scenes folks, the producers and the like, I can't believe we're doing this. They've had these meetings, Tom, where in the meetings, directors, producers, the bigwigs in the front office, all these guys, right, they're sitting around talking about these things, and somebody at every one of those meetings has said, guys, do we really think it's a good idea to do game day with Florida State and Georgia Tech? It's week 1. It's not week 7 where more games have been played and you've moved on and there's an opportunity to kind of soften the blow because other things have happened now that allow you to look at other, aspects of Florida State football. No, this is the only thing people are thinking about. It's the last thing that happened to Florida State football. I mean, this fan base doesn't even think. I mean, we didn't watch the Georgia game in the Orange. That wasn't even a game. Everybody knew what was going to happen there. 16 of the 22 studs that laced them up for you didn't even play in that game. So you knew that was nothing. People on Twitter love to live in 63-3 land, but none of us here in the fan base even think about that game for 1 second. It's not a representation of anything. It's not. It's what happens when you screw somebody, and then the kids who were fighting their ass off and needed minor medical procedures then chose to do that because it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It was an exhibition. So they walked on and got ready for their NFL career. And thankfully they did because 10 of them got drafted.
This is the farce that they're setting up, though. So, for example, let's say they go into City Center, and people just don't be stupid. Knowles, don't be dumb. Like, if you're going to go, then voice your displeasure. Don't be stupid. Don't throw things. Don't be an idiot. Well, that goes for every fan base, but come on, man. Be smart about that. The farce, however, would be if I'm Mike Norvell, and most certainly he's going to be invited for an interview. It's week 0. They're on location.
That would be interesting.
I would do it remotely, if at all. I would do it remotely, if at all. I'd say you can mic me up in the stadium. You can mic me up on the field. I'm not walking on that desk. I'm not dignifying your show with my physical presence. And if he did, then you're putting yourself in a position where unruly fans, Mike has to be the one, guys, take it easy. Like, no.
Right.
That is a 0-no win. Do not do it. Do not.
No, the good news is I can tell you from a technical standpoint, from what it is they're doing, from a production standpoint, I don't think they're going to do that, Tom. I don't think either coach is going to be on the set because of where this is going to be located in comparison to Aviva. They can't get the coaches. The coaches are going to want to be with their teams at the time that these interviews would be done on that set, and it's too much to traverse over to Aviva from there. These are narrow streets. It's going to be very difficult. So I don't think they'll do that, but what they will do is a pre-show interview. They'll do the interviews just like we would, right? Either the night before, the morning of, very early. They'll do that.
Or on Friday, sometimes they have the set live, and they do something the night before. Yeah.
And so they'll do that, and that is the one spot where I say, okay, fine. This is your one chance to address this with those that were the mouthpiece for it. And you are going to be sitting across from, in all likelihood, either Kirk Herbstreit or one of the other. They may not even let Kirk do the interview, right? They may have somebody else do that interview, I would guess.
Well, my question is, would he do the interview with 4 helmets behind him, and those 4 helmets being Alabama and Texas and Washington and Michigan? Would Kirk have those 4 helmets behind him in order? Like the thing that I agree with Corey, because I was there when you guys were taping that segment yesterday. It was towards the end.
Yeah.
Of headlines, is take control of the interview.
Right.
You don't have to be crazy grandstanding. Just say, what were you thinking? Why? What in your mind it makes Alabama so much better as you've claimed? Like, how is it possible that you don't see that the results on the field matter the most, especially in your history that Ohio State hadn't exactly been playing murderer's row and they're out of conference forever and a day. If they went undefeated, I feel like they might have gotten a little bit better treatment. I feel like Alabama might have gotten a little bit better treatment if the roles were reversed here. I just take control of the interview, put them on the defensive, and ask them the question.
Well, it's an indefensible one too, so they would be reeling right off the bat because that had never been done before. So you set precedent, and they knew they could get away with it because it was expanding to 12 teams. Florida State's not. I mean, look, any school in the ACC, not just Florida State, any school in the ACC is going to get screwed if it comes down to a fine line judgment between an SEC or a Big Ten school or an ACC school. Like moving forward for that playoff, almost the rules already stated that was going to happen. Yeah. If you're trying to get a second ACC team in, besides the conference champion, Tom, and their resume is even with that of a one-loss SEC or Big Ten team, it's the same resume. Well, the ACC's not getting the bowl there. Yes. But that's any school. That's not specific to FSU.
They could be 11-1 and the SEC team's 9-3, and the SEC team's getting in because of strength of schedule, the echo chamber. That's what's happening. And you would have to put them on the defensive in that situation.
And we've gone way over and we need to go to break, but I'm going to say this again though. Let's say, and I can say it now without even this having happened. well, let's say I think we're going to end up in the SEC. A lot of people disagree with me and think we're going to end up in the Big Ten. Regardless, we're going to be in one of those two super conferences. It's going to Fox or ESPN. We're going to be with one of those two when this all shakes out.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, because I do not want people to be hypocritical. If I'm in the SEC, okay, as I'm predicting that they'll be, maybe I'm wrong. And if it happens, but you got to pick a side here, and I think that's where they're going to end up because I believe they're too great an asset for ESPN to overlook. I don't think they'll let the Big Ten plant that flag, Fox plant that flag in their backyard. You think they're going to let Fox walk in and grab Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State, and Virginia or Miami? No way. I don't believe that. Anyhow, so we're in that league, and we play a 12-game schedule in that league, okay, Tom, or 13, whatever it's going to be. And you play 7 teams in the top 15 that year. You play, because they're going to cross-promote, and they're going to play, the SEC is going to play the Big Ten. All right, so say we're in that league, and we play Michigan in Ann Arbor. Michigan ends up being a top 20 team. We turn around and play Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, whomever, right? You end up with 7 games against top 15 teams, and you go 10-2. I'm sorry. A 12-0 ACC team, in my mind, that year, I'd be like, no, we're better. We're a better team. We've had a better schedule. Screw you. I'm joining the fight at that point. And you would be right. You'd be right.
Right, but do you think Alabama was better than Florida State last year, though? I don't.
Injured
quarterback or not.
I don't think they were better than Florida State last year. I think we can't know that. We can't. So I think at the very least we didn't know that.
Correct, but the wild thing here too is that Texas, of course, is not at fault here, but they should catch some strays. They were 7th before they were 3rd. They were.
This gets lost in the whole thing because in order to get Alabama in, you had to get Texas in because Texas beat Alabama at Alabama, so you had to do it. So Texas jumped us too out of nowhere, and they had a loss. Doesn't make any sense.
Right. So Texas is the proof. That's the proof to me, is what they had to gerrymander to get Texas into that Final Four. Because at that point, the argument should be made, rightfully, if you're going to do it. If you're going to do it the whole way. Put us at 6 behind Georgia. Don't put us at 5.
Well, I said that at the time. I said it the day of. If you really didn't think Florida State belonged in this discussion and you thought they were, let's just say you legitimately thought, and there are people who do legitimately think that. They're not conspiracy theorists. They just believe that, right? Okay, fine. I'll have that argument. We can talk about the nuance and all those things. But if you really thought that, well, look, man, then you had to know that Georgia was better than Florida State. Georgia's resume has 1 loss. It's to Alabama. That's it. You had to put Georgia ahead of us. Where they really screwed up and caused the biggest problem for themselves, in my estimation, was that they should have started, if you were going to screw Florida State, if your goal was to get Bama in and screw Florida State, you should have started the process weeks before. Yeah. Like you should have dropped Florida State from the top 4 long before you did. That way, it wouldn't have been so dramatic.
Yeah, the moment that Jordan gets hurt on that Monday or that Tuesday show, you drop him to 5 or 6 or whatever you need to do at that point because that's going to be your intent. It's just, I know we've gone long, but I'm living it again, and I've gone cross-eyed. This is good luck in Ireland, guys. Just don't show up. I will continue. Just don't. That's the best way to do it. Crickets for game day. Crickets.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
I'm Craig Richards with Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we believe you. Now, what does that mean? Over and over, we hear from people we represent that they shared their stories of how they were injured, either with law enforcement, insurance companies, or business owners, and they didn't believe their story. That's why you need an attorney who has your back, no matter what. An attorney who starts by believing you're telling the truth. We at Basic Brooks, we believe you. Let's talk. 850-777-7777.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
At Paul's Termite and Pest Control, we know if you have something in your home that's not supposed to be there, you want it gone now.
Not in a couple of days, not tomorrow, but today. That's why we offer a same-day guarantee.
If you call Paul's before 12, one of our technicians will be out before 5. We guarantee it.
The health of you, your family, and your pets is why we promise to do everything possible to quickly resolve your problem.
And we do so using the safest chemicals. Notice a pest problem?
Call Paul's Termite and Pest Control before 12, and we're there before 5.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
We're all spending more time at home than we ever have.
And our yards have become more than something we look at through the window. They are now a major part of our refuge.
Now that we're outside more, wouldn't it be great if we could eliminate the things that make us want to run back inside? Pests like mosquitoes and fire ants.
Paul's Pest Control can do just that, and will do it for a surprisingly low cost.
Our treatments are done outside. There is never a reason to enter your home.
The weather is beautiful, and now is the time to be outside.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control will help you take your yard back.
Call us for a free consultation.
Seasons change. Why not your tech? Upgrade now during the Dell Technologies Summer Sale event and save on select PCs like the XPS 16 powered by Intel Core processors. You'll be able to bring your most intensive projects to life with built-in AI, minimalistic design, immersive visuals, and cinematic audio. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics plus free shipping on everything. Amazing prices await you for a limited time only at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
When life spells heartburn, how do you spell relief? ROLAIDS.
What about when life spells fried chicken?
ROLAIDS.
Fourth cup of coffee?
Still ROLAIDS.
Extra cheesy pizza?
Rolaids always spells relief. Rolaids' powerful dual-active formula begins neutralizing acid on contact to fight your heartburn fast. So, when life spells heartburn, Rolaids spells relief. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Yeah, that was an incredibly long segment. Seldom heard in radio. 30 plus straight minutes of conversation. But that's how we roll on the Jeff Cameron Show, Tom. Every now and again, it can happen. We get carried away, buddy.
Well, there was a lot to get to, and that's a dense topic. We're
not going to solve it is the problem, and there are so many elements of nuance that need to be addressed. Like within the point you're making, there's usually 7 that are, kind of the subtitles of that, right? You got to get through into other areas.
And I think what we all agree on, whether you're on our side of it or you're working in Bristol or you're the Irish delegation who's welcoming ESPN, you're worried, and you're right to be. Like it's a very volatile thing to put them in city center around lots of delightful pubs and days of carousing. They could do a smarter thing, like not go. It would be smarter.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do, and there is, and I'm going to say this because it will get painted as being unique to Florida State, and it won't be. There are lunatics in every fan base. There are these outlier fanatics that are delusional, and to them it is not sport, but life or death. And that's, that element exists in fandom anywhere there are fans. Whether that's the National Football League, Major League Baseball, it could be anything. It could be anything. There's a small portion of every fan base that is wackadoo. And those are the ones that come. There you go. There's the running of the Gumps at Alabama. Look at that fat ass in his flip-flops sprinting to get a football signed. He's 52 years old. Get a grip. Get a grip. Nick Saban hates you. Anyhow, so the point would be that exists, right? And they're going to say something crazy. And I can live with the saying of crazy things. They'll be painted as, Florida State fans are nuts. That's all fans. That's all fans, especially fans who get screwed over. That's what happens. But I really hope nothing absurd happens and we end up having a national incident here. And that's why I'm surprised they're doing this, is that the potential for that is there. Obviously, I don't need to chastise or to talk down to or any of those things. Most of the people listening to this show, almost all, I would hope almost all, get that you can obviously tersely address the subject, and you can state emphatically that it was wrong, and you can accuse them of what it is you think that they were guilty of and being the mouthpiece for that screwing. You can do all of those things. That's fine. But you can't cross the line into violence in any way, shape, or form. It's just not justified.
I think what they're banking on is the economic barrier of getting over to Dublin is going to weed some of that out. I say wrong. Just don't do it. Go inside the stadium. Change your plans. Just for everybody. Everybody wins if that's the case. And if they do put it in city center, let's make sure it looks like the pandemic is still happening when they're on television. That would be
it's supposed to be in city center. I was told that by an ESPN person.
That is not how you solve for the future.
Here's how you solve for the future, and here's how they continue to solve for the future at ISF. And I've got an upcoming event to tell you about. They are, in fact, once again doing the hurricane prep work with ISF, and they're doing it. They did it here in Tallahassee already for the month of June, Tom. They're going to do it over in Jacksonville as well on June 22nd, 10 a.m. Any of my Jacksonville listeners, make sure you do this. They're partnering with Newtown Success Zone in Jacksonville to engage the community. They engage the community here already. I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. They want to make sure that you have, your emergency stuff, your crisis situations can be easily handled if you're prepared for it. And if you want to learn more, go to isf.com. They're solving the future. They solve the future on the Jeff Cameron Show on a regular basis. Normally, I get into the details of all these things that they do. I don't have to this time around because you know them. They've been doing this for a while. They partnered with the Second Harvest already in June. Just before my birthday, I was out of town, Tom. While we were up together there in New York, where you are, they were working with the Second Harvest of the Big Bend and helping them prepare the community for hurricane season. So that's what ISF does. They collaborate with people in the community that do incredible work for those in need, obviously, many of whom are underserved. So we really appreciate both the Second Harvest, obviously, but also our friends at ISF.
Well, and they're outstanding when it comes to the professional side of things, the services they offer. If you're looking for somebody who can help cut the red tape to simplify what it is you need to do, especially in the capital, there can be a lot of red tape that you got to sift through. They're excellent at streamlining and optimizing and making things more efficient. So it's a really good organization. We've gotten to know the people, Jonathan specifically, ISF.
Awesome guy.
Yep.
We become friends, and that's what they do. They work with you. They don't talk at you. They collaborate. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The recently completed audit of mail operations in Tallahassee confirms what many residents have known for months. There are extensive issues with service, compliance, and even conditions at some of the facilities in the capital city. Reports from the United States Postal Service Office of Inspector General hone in on 5 audit areas, including mail clearance times, delayed mail, late, canceled, and extra outbound trips, scan compliance, and security of registry items. The audit revealed issues were identified in all 5 of those categories at the Tallahassee Processing and Distribution Facility. One of the findings saw there are only 2 full-time employees assigned to letter processing operations when 16 were needed. Congressman Neil Dunn has been vocal about the mailing issues. Dunn pressured USPS to take action, and in a statement Wednesday, Dunn called the problems an unacceptable failure. He said he and his office will continue to work with USPS to ensure recommendations get implemented as promised. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update.
Attention, Florida. Are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Legal Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Legal Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Legal Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HeissenLegalawFirm.com. Heisen Legal Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
Johns.com. Right now, it's 91 degrees.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck? Tractor or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
No.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
One more show to go before Florida State plays baseball against Tennessee in Omaha. Feel like this is as eagerly anticipated a baseball game as we've had in a long time. Got to go back all the way to the LSU game in Alex Box, I think, by the way. And I would certainly argue that this game is much more enthusiastically embraced to be viewed than those two games there, because we thought we were going to go lose. We thought that that baseball team in 2019 wasn't good enough to go and beat LSU, and they did 2 straight actually. But we didn't think they would do that. So this one here, you got your hopes up because you know the team's good enough to do something about it. They could win the whole damn thing, but they can only win the whole damn thing, in my opinion, if they win this game. It keeps that reality alive. They lose this game, I think your chances of winning the national championship are pretty much squashed.
They are dire.
I think it becomes real dire against teams that are too good. Yeah.
Yeah, to me, this is the most like that year for Mike Martin and traveling to LSU was about a fairy tale and hoping that you get to smile as you put a period on the end of the sentence, the final sentence of an unbelievable career. But you get out to Omaha in that situation, I'm just trying not to go 0-2. That's what I'm thinking as a fan. Like we're in that, I believe we had Arkansas and Michigan in that region, I think. But it just, you didn't have expectations about winning. You'd have to have all these crazy things happen to believe that it was within your grasp to win the College World Series. Man, it's been 15 years. I don't know that I felt that enthusiastic about the 12 group that went.
In 08, when I went, I thought they were good enough they could have won it.
That was Posey, Jack Rye in the middle of the lineup. That was the same kind of butterflies that I think we're going to feel tomorrow night, because it's not like it's there for the taking and it's just who wants it. These are really good teams that you have to play.
Yeah, you're going to have to be really good. You're going to have to play your best game. Yeah.
But you're well within the margin of what it takes for it to not be a surprise. I don't care what Vegas says about plus 850, man. You got a real shot at this thing.
Well, I threw down on my plus 850, buddy. It's right there along with my Corey Connors top 20 bet, buddy. Right there. I got it. And I have Mitch Keller, not just screwing Mitch Keller, on the mound right now against the Cardinals. I got 3 live wagers going here, buddy. This is good. I may have another one later on tonight for the hockey. We're going to fill it up. We're going to have a good time. By the way, to answer your question, old dad, you write, Jeff, before you and Tom started selling products as baseball analysts, I think you were going to address my question about having Jeff Colhane on before the season. Sure, we'll have Jeff on. I'm friends with Jeff. I know Jeff well. And, Jeff, this is how good a guy Jeff Colhane is. We haven't known each other that long. He hasn't been here that long. But I see him all the time at practice and we talk or whatever. He sent me a text on the night that my dog passed away. About that. That's good people. That's good people right there. You know, like when I don't think he would mind me saying that, telling that story, but yeah, I was, I think we knew each other like that. So that was cool. It was nice. And yeah, we'll have him on. He does a very good job. And I do think the point that you might have made earlier, Noel, Dad, hey, look, he had impossible shoes to fill. And you never want to be the guy that replaces the legend, right? You want to be the guy that replaces the guy who replaced the guy. And he came in here, and I thought right off the bat did a good job. Nobody's ever going to like all of the aspects of what announcers do. I mean, there were things that Gene did that I didn't love. But I thought he was overall great. That's just the nature of the beast. If you talk for a living and you do it in large volumes, that's what's going to happen.
There's plenty of things that a family member does that you can't stand, and you might love that family member, but that's over the years. And if you're lucky enough to stick around for 10 years and 15 and 20, your voice becomes a part of the family. That's the goal of all play-by-play broadcasters, is to mark that time. And he might have some stuff that you still don't like 20 years from now, but if he's here for 20 years from now, my man is going to be beloved the way that Gene was in the 90s, he kept going and going and going. It's just, that's the remarkable nature of Gene's career. And he's back for one more with the Bucks. It's just unbelievable.
It is crazy. Speaking of which, I will go ahead and hit. But Tom, I'll do it right. I'll let the people stick around this time around. I will not play the bed music, okay? We'll let everybody hear the probables, and they can stick around.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching probables?
If you want to hum along, you guys can do that and kind of make the music yourself. Atlanta currently up on the Orioles 4-0. That game is in the 6th inning. It is Ronaldo Lopez, Cole Irvin. In the 7th, Detroit leads Washington 2-1 in a game nobody cares about. That's Patrick Corbin, Casey Mize. 0-0 Yankees, Kansas City. That is a rivalry from yesteryear. When I was a kid in the 80s, that was a great rivalry. George Brett, along with the rest of these, the Hal McRae and the rest of the Kansas City Royals taking on the Yankees, was a fun matchup. Nestor Cortez, go ahead, Tom.
Nestor.
Well done. Alec Marsh goes for the Royals. We got Pirates Cards. That game is underway, and there is no score. Mitch Keller has been on fire, but the Pirate offense will betray you. And so not just screwing Mitch Keller may not get a lot of help. Lance Lynn going for the Cardinals. 105-year-old Lance Lynn will probably pitch a shutout against the Buccos through 9. Cubs, Rays, we got Justin Steele, Taj Bradley. Marlins, Mets later on tonight. Roderi Munoz goes for the Marlins. Luis Severino goes for the Mets. Phillies, Red Sox, Aaron Nola, Tanner Houck. A's, Twins, Luis Medina, Joe Ryan. White Sox, Mariners, Garrett Crochet, Emerson Hancock. Angels, D-backs, Griffin Canning. He's a cheater. I don't know that to be the case. I mean, at the club while playing golf. Brandon Pfaadt goes for the D-backs. Rangers, Dodgers, Michael Lorenzen, Michael Grove. A battle of the Michaels tonight, late night, 10:10 in Chavez Ravine. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Ever been to Dodger Stadium, Tom?
No. Been out to L.A. twice, and the 2 times I was there, but never made it out that way.
Yeah, I went to Staples Center too to see to see Kobe and the Lakers, and they got trounced in the game you and I were at. You were at that game. You didn't go to that game?
No, I was meeting Bob Ryan.
I thought.
No, for real. That was the same night.
It was the same night. That's right. I took off to Staples to go see the Lakers play, and I forgot. You were chilling, drinking with Bob Ryan.
Yeah, who was off? I don't usually do this, but I've got a parting shot for you. And he was smiled ear to ear, and he said, "Great." No, I said, "Hello, Mr. Ryan. Big fan."
And he was cool, and he's tall.
I couldn't believe how tall he was.
He's tall, slender, yeah.
And he's not an extrovert. Even though he's very talkative when you get him in the setting, he is not an extrovert. There was a bonfire because it does get a little cold out that way, we learned.
Yeah.
He sat at the bonfire, just stared at it, and he looked at peace. Not with that. He was just like,
he's like, who's this kid coming over to bother me?
He gave me more time than I was. You know how people send signals like, all right, I'm ready to go. He's like, no. I was like, oh, He gave me the no. All right, let's talk.
I want to prep you for this. It came up. It worked out well. You'll look on your screen here, Tom, in just a minute. Bob Ryan is joining us, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm kidding. But what that would have been
you're about to tell me that he died.
No. But what I am preparing you for is that's coming real soon.
Oh, yeah.
A couple days ago, I was flipping around, and he was on around the whatever the hell that is, the horn. Tommy, it was like your Arnold Palmer moment. It broke me. I saw it. I gazed upon the set there for about 5 minutes and went, oh, no. Now, he's still sharp. He's still sharp. He's still got the mental acuity necessary to be on that show. But the skin, the flesh is weak, Tom. It is failing. The darkness is creeping upon him.
Maybe I should drive up there. He's only a couple hours away. It's just like, Bob, like he's Terrence Mann in the Field of Dreams. Bob, you okay? You doing all right?
Time, man. There's nothing you can do.
I bought some Raisin Bran for you, Bob. Have some Raisin Bran, please, for all of us.
I did. I saw him, and I almost took a picture and texted it to you and said, if you want to reach out to Bob, this may be it.
Well, the Golf Legends thing. The Golden Bear, unfortunately.
Oh, buddy.
He's on the back nine. We all know that. But
he's on number 8 fairway. I mean, this is
17 fairway. 17.
Oh, sorry. 17 fairway. Yeah.
Did you see the announcement with next year's memorial?
Oh God, no.
Okay, so the announcement is that they honor somebody every year.
I saw he broke down. He lost it. Yeah.
Because they're honoring his wife. I think he's like, whoop, I forgot something. I got to make sure we do this. We got to get this in. And you could tell.
I've been doing this forever. I've honored me several times. I've got to.
I think he's honored himself like 3 times.
8 times. Oh, imagine that. The award goes to Jack. God, I'm honored, guys. I can't believe it. Again? This is amazing. And at some point, he was like, Barbara, jeez Louise, I almost left this earth without saying thanks.
Also, very quickly, Kevin Van Valkenburg did that long piece on Rory's major drought.
Yeah.
He put himself in the third person saying, here's what ESPN's Keith Van Valkenburg wrote about Rory and Tony.
Oh, that's awesome. Good for him. I like Valkenburg, though. That's funny. That is ridiculous.
Or Kevin, if I called him Keith, it's Kevin, but yeah.
I should do that on the show. Wouldn't that be hilarious if I was like, well, you heard what Jeff Cameron said the other day, Tom. Be well, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Libations Friday. Moreover, game day. Peace.